Hello, and welcome back to the Green Standard Podcast, where we talk about all things cannabis. And today, we're hearing the story of another Veriheal patient. Jason Atkins is an Ohio native who uses cannabis to help with symptoms of his PTSD after surviving a major house fire. Now, he has an effective way to help manage his symptoms, and he also found a new hobby in growing his own medicine. Jason shares insights about what he's learned in his journey from med-card patient to cannabis cultivator ahead, but before we get into it, if you are living with a chronic condition and are wondering if medical cannabis is right for you, Veriheal can link you with a compassionate physician in your area who can not only certify you for medical marijuana use in your state, but who can also answer all of your questions, give you recommendations, and help you put together a medical cannabis routine catered to your needs and your preferences. To get started, visit Veriheal.com. That's Veriheal.com. We'll see you there, and let's get into it.
Jason, it's lovely to finally meet face to face.
Same here. I'm glad to be here.
Yes. So you are a medical cannabis patient in Ohio.
I am for a few years now.
Sweet. So let's get right into it.
So in 2020, myself and my family, we all almost lost our lives in a fire. I woke up middle of the night, couldn't see in front of my face kind of thing. The house was already filled in smoke. If my kids wouldn't have slept downstairs that night, someone was looking over us for sure. They got the fire out. It was like 4 or so in the morning, and I was there. The fire chief was there, and then the cleanup crew was boarding the windows up. I left, and then he left. It was a rental place, keep this in mind. It was 2 hours later, I had a phone call. Your house is on fire again. I had signed Brady jerseys, Gronk jerseys, pool tables, ping pong tables, to literally nothing. I mean, it was absolutely devastating. It took a toll on me. I shook so bad afterwards. My doctor couldn't barely talk to me.
Yeah.
I was in bad shape. I dealt with PTSD still now. I mean, I guess it's kind of flaring up now. That's why weed has been such an impact for me. I mean, it literally saved my life. Literally pulled me out of the cave I was in. It wasn't a month after I had talked to my doctor about it, and then got with a medical marijuana doctor, and then back and forth with my family doctor. It was like night and day. When I walked in there after a month after being just strictly medical cannabis, I was a different person. I mean, it was like nothing ever happened. I was working on the rebuild. I was on the up. I'm like I am now. I'm happy-go-lucky. But if it wasn't for weed, I wouldn't have been able to. I wouldn't been able to focus on anything, to be able to build back anything. Honestly.
Yeah, and it sounds like it helped you find yourself again.
Oh, it really did. I mean, when I really dove in after this, I knew that it was going to take something pretty powerful to really pull me out. And that's when I started dabbling with Rick Simpson Oil, the RSO, that kind of pulled me out from the depression that I was in. You have a family and nobody has their things anymore. It gets really hard really quick. And without cannabis, I wouldn't have made it. There's 100% fact I wouldn't have made it. There's no way. I tried the pills. They didn't do nothing. They made me worse. Mm-hmm. If it wasn't for weed, I wouldn't be here.
For those listening at home who might not have experience with Rick Simpson Oil, would you mind giving us a little summary of what Rick Simpson Oil is?
I discovered Rick Simpson Oil with a YouTube video about a Parkinson's patient. He was shaking, couldn't move, in dear agony. I watched a guy put a little something under his tongue. Within a minute, that shaking stopped, and that I begged for the shaking to stop. I knew it was my nerves,
right? And
I knew that calmed that man down so much. That's what I had to do, and that's what I did. And it was 100% night and day. I mean, under a minute. That just blew my mind.
Not being certain that you can feel that relaxation, to have that brought into your life is a relief, probably.
From heart beating 100 miles an hour to just, I'm happy now. What am I even worried about? I mean, you need that sometimes. I think everybody needs that.
What does your medical cannabis routine kind of look like these days?
So, a little bit about me. I have a rare disease called alpha 1. It is a lung and liver disease. It's protein deficiency. I have a port in my chest. I take a weekly IV. I try not to smoke cannabis that often. I try to stick to the RSO gummies specifically. I have a greenhouse outside of my house. We're allowed growing in Ohio. I have 6 plants right now.
So, when you're growing, do you crossbreed? Do you cater those genetics to anything in particular?
I'm not really doing anything fancy. I'm trying to stay 100% organic and still turn out a really good product. Now, over the years, I've learned what's worked, what hasn't. This year, I probably have some of the best lemon bud I'm ever going to taste. It's going to be amazing.
Okay, interesting. So are you more of I know that like the citrusy flower tends to lean more sativa, and there's like a debate of whether indica versus sativa really, it's like more about the terps. Are you more of a sativa guy?
I'm more about the flavor. Flavors mean everything to me. Percentages don't really mean much to me until you get like low enough to where it's just pretty much ground up leaves and you really don't want to mess with it.
Yes, thank you, Jason, for sharing your story. We talk about cannabis every single day around here, but in the real world, we know it's not the easiest topic to be transparent about, especially in places like St. Mary's, Ohio, where the conversations around cannabis aren't as open as somewhere like Denver. And so living in Denver, sometimes I forget that sharing these stories and being transparent about cannabis isn't the easiest. So thank you, Jason, for being vulnerable with us and sharing your story on our show. And if Jason's story had you wondering if medical cannabis could be that life-changing medicine for you too, Veriheal can link you with a compassionate physician in your area who can not only certify you for medical cannabis use in your state, but who can also answer your questions, give you recommendations, and help you put together your own medical cannabis routine. To get started, visit Veriheal.com. That's Veriheal.com. We'll see you there. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Bye.